Welcome to Jaunty Haunts, the podcast about all things supernatural. After 30 years of keeping a secret, I'm finally ready to share with the world that I see ghosts. Yep, I've been having conversations with the other side while trying to keep up appearances. This podcast is all about getting spooky and connecting with others who might also sense, see, or feel things beyond the ordinary. We'll swap true tales of the seen and unseen, and maybe even laugh about the weird stuff we've experienced. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, come join me as we explore the paranormal. Let's connect, share, and maybe feel a little less crazy together. Welcome to Jaunty Haunts. What if this isn't your first life? What if the fears you can't explain, the places that feel strangely familiar, the dreams that seem too real aren't random at all? Tonight, we're stepping into the world of past life regressions, a practice that claims to unlock memories buried deep within us, memories that don't belong to this lifetime, but feel just as vivid. Stories of people recalling names, places, and even entire lifetimes they've never lived. At least, not in this version of themselves. Is it the power of suggestion, the imagination reaching deeper than we realize, or could it be something far more profound? A thread connecting us across time. Joining us are Charlie and Tyler from Believing in the Bizarre podcast, as we explore these experiences and the questions they leave behind. So tonight, as you settle in, ask yourself, if you could remember who you were before, would you want to? I'm your host, Courtney, and this is Jaunty Haunts, where the past isn't always behind us, and some stories never truly end. Let's take a step back in time. The Casper rating of this episode is 3. Well. It's been a long time, my ghoul friends, and all I can do is say sorry. This summer, man, I don't know about anybody else out there, but if this has been a hard summer for you, raise your hand, okay? Because I feel like this has been the summer of grind. The heat has been hot, the work has been hard, the days have been long, and I'm already not a huge fan of summer, but this one is really packed a punch. So all I can say is happy Ogtober. I've been seeing that phrase a lot in social media, which, some might say it's cringy. I'm embracing any steps closer to the autumn that I can. So happy Ogtober. I can't promise consistent episodes over the next few weeks as I am finishing out my very busy muggle job contract, let's say. And so, come September, things will be rocking and rolling. The rest of August might be a bit spotty, but I'm really excited to get this out to you today because we're talking about past lives, and we're talking about it with the amazing guys from Believing the Bizarre podcast. So hold your hats. It's a really fun chat. We get into a lot of stuff. Before we jump in, though, I thought I might do something I haven't done in a while, which is tell a personal story. You may have heard sort of snippets of these in conversations with other people, so I figured, hey, let's tell the full thing. Let's, give you the full scoop. So, past lives, right? Past lives, past life regression. We touch on a lot of different aspects of that in this episode. So, the first time past lives was ever even a thing, a concept in my mind. Let's go there. So I was about 4 or 5 the first time I remember drawing what felt like a memory. It was a sunset over the ocean with these long hanging jagged cliffs and a castle at the top of this hill. And on the cliff's edge, I drew a young girl who was in sort of like a big ball gown looking out. Sounds pretty standard, a little princess, right? Yeah, But I remember thinking like, this was me. I remember this was me. And, my parents thought nothing of it. I thought nothing of it because it was like, oh, sorry, the windows are open behind me and the the wind is blowing through the aspen trees, and it kind of creeped me out for a second. These bears and coyotes have been out this summer up here in Lake Tahoe. So anyway, as I got older, I would have more memories of this girl in a blue dress. Another one very vividly was sort of this window sill, window inlet, window outlet. I'm not quite sure the correct architectural term for it, but if I picture a medieval castle and like a long hallway, there's sort of these windows that go down the side of it that scoop out like a bay window, I guess. But sitting in one of those windows and looking out, and out of the eyes of the person looking out the window, as well as seeing the person looking out the window, and it was that same little girl, but this time it was sort of like a white, more of like a nightie, a nightgown, but like a fancier gown, like a very, fancy gown, and long ringlets, like golden ringlets, blue eyes. And the third part of this memory that always really stuck out to me was walking on the beach below sort of the cliff's edge, on the, clearly in the area, but on another part of the beach, and kicking up the sand, and like the feeling of the heat under my sort of satin slip-on shoes, and the sand hitting the front of my gown as I was walking into it, and hearing someone in a language I didn't understand say like, "sut," or tut, some like 2-syllable, like stop that, basically, like enough, and feeling like, oh, I was in trouble. Like I was a little kid and I got in trouble. But when I looked up, I would see almost like a Queen Elizabeth vibe, royal matriarch, a woman with bright red hair sort of piled on top of her head, and wearing a bunch of purple, like a lot of purple fabric, and like a big ball gown skirt with a lot of pearls lining around her head and coming down, her chest. And she was surrounded by guards, wearing these kind of like metal tin knight looking things. So all of these things obviously could have implanted in my brain out of pop culture, right? I was a little kid. My mom and I watched Ever After all the time. A lot of these same sort of colors and fashion and ideas. But the ocean side and the exact castle were very specific. I was never, I don't know. It's just, you play pretend, you make things up, and then you have memories, and they're two very different things. And I think as children, we have a very close connection to something that might have been. The interesting thing about this is that I've been to a few different people who do past life regressions, and also like other just general like spiritual workers, light workers, people who, I don't know, analyze these types of things. And I've been told so many different things. I've been told it definitely is a past life. I was a royal. I've also been told that it's not a past memory, but I'm a vision into the future to see that in my, I think she said my 11th life, I'll be a Pleiadian princess, and it'll be my life of ease. I have a lot of hard lives and struggle lives to get through until that is my life. But the other part of this memory is that I die very young. Because, I don't know, it was another thing that I felt like I always knew. I died young. Or this character did? I don't know. It's so funny, right? It's so weird. And it's something in the paranormal, I feel like obviously a lot of people talk about this kind of stuff all the time. But, my podcast and a lot of other shows are very much like ghosts, ghost hunting, paranormal, demons, all kinds of that stuff. So this gets a little into belief systems, and it's fun. It's interesting. I like talking about it, and I hope you like listening. And if you have any past life regressions or have experienced anything like this, I want to hear it. Please share it. You can email me, DM me, however you like to do it, or, whatever. Reach out. I would love to hear your stories, because a lot of these I've heard aren't as outlandish as princess in a foreign land looking into the distance of the ocean. Sometimes it's just little kids who know how to fix things really well, or remember exactly how they died right before they came here in like a realistic car crash, and then they find the paperwork that this car crash really happened. And oh, you know what? So let me say, there is a part 2 to this that gives my past life story a little more validity. If you listened to season 1, Jaunty Hans, I interviewed my Grandma Ridgely, and she talked about how there was this, line of ancestry that leads to, I think, Sir Robert Drake is the name, or Sir something. I gotta go back and listen to you guys, but basically he was like a duke or a lord or a high something in Scotland. And when I Googled this person, the castle and the land looked incredibly familiar to these dreams, and I immediately got chills. And this is on Wikipedia. I'm seeing these places, I'm following these links. His son married a woman who then had 2 children, and there's a painting of the mother and her 2 daughters, and the 2 daughters are blonde hair, blue-eyed girls with these curly ringlets wearing this blue chiffon ball gown. And my breath was like taken away, because I was like, holy shit. Beyond anything, whether that's a past life or not, why was I as a little girl, in kindergarten, having memories or feelings of that family, of that girl drawing these images? I've never seen this before in my life. So anyway, it's a little creepy, it's a little kooky. And yeah, let's get into it. But, I just wanted to share something personal. I've had some other past life stuff, which we can talk about later, but I don't want to take up all the time. Also, I got a comment on a recent episode that said, this isn't the first time, you guys, so I'm just putting it out there. It said, "Man, I love your show. Every episode has been great. I had to stop listening though. You say like way too much." So I don't know, I guess thank you for staying and putting up with that if you hate it so much. But guys, I say like a lot, and you know that if you're here. And if that's a deal breaker for you, probably stop now, because I'm not going to stop. I'm going to speak how I'm going to speak. I'm not in acting school anymore. I'm not reading a script. I'm not doing a play. I'm usually, trying to craft something fun for you guys, but a lot of it is off the cuff. This is me. This is who I am. So if the repeated likes get too much for you, look, I get it, and I'm sorry, but you don't need to leave a comment about that. I already know. Okay. Anyway, have a wonderful day, you guys. I hope the summer has been easier on you than it has been on the many, and keep trucking along. And we are so close to spooky season and those cooler temperatures. All right, love you guys. Let's get into the interview. Let's get into other past life stuff, and let's talk with the guys from Believing the Bizarre. Catch me up. Last time we spoke, it was like June of last year, I think. Maybe even like May.
I think it was, I think it was a little before that.
Yeah, it was like springtime. So what's happened? It's been almost a year. What's the last year looked like for you guys?
There's that one guy we killed. But other than that, it's been pretty good.
We went to Kansas. We went to the Sally house.
We legit do go to Kansas.
Okay, very cool. I know, because I know last time we spoke to you, you mentioned you wanted to go to some like haunted locations or check stuff out. So I was curious if you got to do any proper ghost hunting.
We did. I don't know if it's proper ghost hunting, but we did go to the Sally house in Kansas, and we rented it out for 2 hours, and we got to explore it a little bit. And there was some legit.
You guys?
No, it was it was like there's probably 10 of us.
It was a bunch of people that we knew. It wasn't just like strangers.
Well, there were some strangers.
Yeah,
but like
true.
Paranormal investigator crew, kind of.
Thank goodness there were strangers, because they let us borrow their equipment, and it was pretty cool.
Nice. So what was it like? What did you experience?
Well, we heard a bunch of. Well, we tried the ESPIS method. I don't know if you probably know what that is.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second.
We tried that, and we heard a lot of nothing, no like answers, just a lot of like screaming.
Ooh, okay.
It was creepy.
Like one voice or like many voices echoing?
Just one.
Okay.
And our friend Parker, who is the biggest skeptic, he got a huge scratch on his back.
Shit, really?
Yeah, and like he had like a crisis of faith. It was a whole thing.
It's kind of nice when that happens, though, when it's like at least, you know, the skeptics, like if anything big is going to happen, like I'll make you a believer.
He's still not a believer, though. It's so
funny.
What?
It fits into his worldview, though. He's very religious and he believes in demons.
That's true.
He doesn't believe in ghosts.
Okay.
So the fact that Sally House has a demon, allegedly, like I don't think he even I think it fits within his worldview.
Yeah. And remind me, was that like close enough you guys were able to drive, or did you have to like do the whole fly and everything?
We drove. We probably should have flown, but we drove. Yeah, we piled in my in-laws' van and we drove down. It was like the hippie movement.
It was a comfortable van, though.
It was it's a great van. We go to Florida in that van. Tyler, you're really quiet to me.
Courtney, well, I'm being a little mindful. Because I'm like across the hallway from Joey.
You can't just scream, I guess.
You're good. No. I can hear you okay as well. Great. For the listeners, obviously we've been chatting, but we've got Charlie and Tyler here from Believing in the Bizarre. I loved having you guys on last year. I know I'm still a relatively new show. I'm going into season 3, but your episode performed so well. People really loved how, hearing what you guys had to say and learning about your show, and I'm sure a lot of that was your listeners kindly, seeing that, oh, you had done something, so I'll check out her show. But either way,
probably not. We don't really move people, so
I don't know. Maybe,
I don't know. It had some higher numbers than usual, and some good comments like, "Oh, these guys are great. I love these guys." So it's so nice of you to take the time to come back on. So I really appreciate you.
Super charismatic, so that's probably it.
Some of the best TV shows, I feel like season 3 is like their best. So you could be hitting your your peak era right now. Not saying that's all going to go downhill after this, but right now could be very, very, very good.
That's really nice of you, but can I say honestly, I was talking with Charlie a little bit that I moved back to California from New York, and I have a true and real fear right now, and I've told everyone this, so I'm sorry for the listeners, this is repeated information, but like I'm just worried because I'm not seeing shit all the time now. Whereas in New York, everything was old and haunted. So like inevitably I'd see like a weird old cobbler or someone who like got hit by a train, because I was just around literally millions of people every day as I like went to work and stuff. And now I work remote in a apartment built in the 60s, and like there's just not a lot going on, So anyway, for content purposes,
you got to move into a haunted apartment then.
No, I did before, and I hated it. I didn't like having the William ghost who was always around, So it's okay. What I have to do is get my butt out of the house and go do these haunted tours and things that are all around Los Angeles, because Lord knows there are plenty of haunted locations here. I just have to choose to interact with them, and it was easy to have content when it wasn't a choice,
It's funny because like you like to went to this place. It's like you would say more like in touch with the third eye, LA.
Yeah.
But New York is. But you're seeing it. I'm trying to get to a point here.
Okay.
That New York is. I think you're seeing more things in New York. I think you're right because it's old.
It's so
LA.
Old.
You're almost yeah.
The haunting part is when rent is due.
No, truly, yeah. I mean, it's much cheaper than New York, luckily, but
that's good.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we're in the same boat, I would say, where we need to get out more and experience more haunting stuff. But I also want to say that at least, at minimum, once a month, I think about your experience with the demon on the subway, and then it follows you, and then you go into the church. I promise you, me and Charlie mention it in passing. Really? Every other month, and I think about it every single month, and I'm thankful that my little
that's something that he's haunting us still.
I'm thankful that my window screen that on this riverside is so small, because I don't want you to tell me I'm home now. Like we were at the studio last time, and I already told you that our attic sometimes, because that's where we used to record, but I don't want to know.
That's okay. I wouldn't tell you anyway unless you asked. Like I had
okay.
I had the siblings from seance with my siblings the other day, and they were like, "Do you see anything in here?" And I was like, "Do you really want me to tell you?" Because there was something in their recording studio, and they said, "Yeah, our basement is haunted with like an entity, and we don't know what it is." And I was like, "Yeah, you got to take care of that because it's like right there with you."
Oh God.
But anyway, there's nothing.
Well, okay.
I don't see anything. You guys are good.
Okay, I was gonna say if I'm in danger, then tell me.
No,
but, you know.
If you're in danger, that's the only time. Because I think even if they hadn't said anything, I would have mentioned, because they're also very like witchy. I would have been like, "Hey, ladies, something is going on." You know.
You can tell Charlie though.
Yeah,
he's had people die in his house. Someone died in his house.
Yeah, two people died in my house.
Jesus of Nazareth is behind you. Is that what I know? No.
Oh, I was like, oh God.
Literally, yeah. No, I don't see anything right now. You guys are good. Yes, well, thank you for, I guess, being haunted by that. I'm sorry. And yeah, that was still probably to this day one of the scariest things I've ever encountered, because it's still very unexplainable, and one of those things in my head that feels like I just lost it. Maybe I lost it. Maybe I had a full mental break that night. But it was undeniable how clear it was, how long the encounter was, and how the vibes were off like the whole day and the night after. Anyway, but yeah, that was crazy that happened. And then like I talked with you guys like 2 days later. So that's crazy. But no, it's cool. In LA, I've had 2 encounters. One was at a New Year's party, and it was like a sweet old grandpa, and he was super happy to be there. And the other one was a mistake, because I work in events. And so I left to go to this event at the Hotel Alexandria, and I hadn't heard anything about it. They were just like, it's really old and cool. So many ghosts. It was like walking into like an old party in the 1920s, but they were all like really annoyed that everyone is there, and I was like, sorry. But anyway, that's it. No demons out here yet.
Do your coworkers know that like you saw that?
My main office I work with, they do, because they know I have a podcast, and so like, you know, I've worked with them long enough that they know, and they don't listen, but they're like, "Oh, that's right, you look like ghosty stuff, right? You have a podcast." I'm always like, "Yep," but I don't think they know. I don't think they know the extent. But at this event, one of the ladies I was working with, she looked at me and she's like, "Kind of creepy vibes in here, right?" And I was like, "Yes." Like, how much do I say right now?
No idea.
Can you draw?
No, I'm horrible at drawing, especially because
Okay.
I was in a car accident, and my whole wrist is like metal, so you can see even
Jeez.
my handwriting of the Charlie gave me the recommendations, and like that's my handwriting now. It's so bad.
I was just thinking it'd be cool, and you could maybe get someone to draw for you. But like you go to these like landmarks, and then you have them draw what you see, right?
Yeah,
And then they'd be like prints of like.
Yes. Oh yeah, like a full facial detail of a spirit I'm seeing.
Yeah, or like, you know, it'd be like the location plus the ghost. So it's like I'm a big fan of those posters where it's there's a name for it. I can't remember what it is, but it's like the national park posters and stuff like that. Locations, like we have a bunch of cryptid location ones at our studio, but it'd be cool if you did like unique ones where it's like, this is a landmark everyone knows in town, but here's actually spirits I've seen there and what they look like.
I think, ooh, that's interesting. You know what I'm kind of getting like in my very woo-woo way is like, I would like to do that, but I would need to get like their permission first, because
That's fair.
I think doing it without it almost feels like an invitation for a haunting, or like to carry that with me if I'm
a little exploitive too, but
you know what I mean? Like, and I couldn't sell it. I think I couldn't commodify it. I think that would be a little yucky. Personally, but like no hate to anyone who would like do that.
But imagine
that's
if someone,
great idea if I wasn't sensitive.
But imagine if someone recognized it too. Like that'd be crazy. Like like someone recognizes the ghost in in the drawing. Yeah,
that's a good idea for families with haunted homes. That might be something fun. Of like that girl, like I mentioned, like I saw her, what I thought was her grandfather, and she's a huge skeptic. She didn't believe me at all. She's like, the only person that would be my grandpa, but I don't believe in ghosts. And
call
like
Portraits from Beyond. There you go.
Could see the bone structure in his face that like they were related. So yeah, that would.
You'd have to get like a police sketcher, right? To like do that. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be great. I actually used to know, kind of going on to the topic tonight. My boyfriend had a friend whose girlfriend at the time worked for the LAPD as a psychic specifically for that. Yeah, who would like explain, like she'd have visions and like tell them where to go find things, but her specialty was doing the art, was drawing people of like actual killers and things like that.
Wow.
That's so close to psych, and that makes me happy.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy. And I always ask him, like, whatever happened to that? Do you talk to your friend anymore? What happened to that? And he's like, I guess they had a crazy breakup and she was super crazy, but she still has that job. I was like, all right.
She got sucked into another dimension. That's what he wanted to say, but you want to scare
Yeah, right. Okay, well, I wanted to touch, I don't think, I apologize, I didn't communicate the exact theme I chose tonight, but I did choose past life regression to chat about. So I've got sort of an intro, I've got, you know, some stories and some talking points and some questions. So I'm just kind of gonna jump in and then feel free to pop in and out as you guys feel fit. So I'm gonna start off with just kind of reading this like vibey intro and get us into the mood. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
There are memories, and then there are memories that don't belong to you. The kind that arrive uninvited, not like a dream, but like something lived. Something remembered. A name you've never heard, but somehow you know how it sounds when spoken aloud. A place you've never been, but you can picture every street, every shadow, every doorway. And sometimes, the most unsettling of all, a death that feels like it already happened to you. Tonight, we're stepping into one of the most controversial and chilling ideas in the paranormal world: past life regression. The belief that somewhere deep inside the mind, or maybe beyond it, there are memories, not just from this life, but from lives that came before. Through hypnosis, guided meditation, or in some cases, completely spontaneous recall, people claim they've seen it. Other lives, other names, other deaths. And not just vague impressions, but vivid, emotional, sometimes disturbingly specific experiences. A man who suddenly remembers dying in a war that history books confirm. A woman who speaks a language she's never learned. And perhaps the most unsettling of all, young children barely able to tie their shoes, describing in detail how they lived and how they died before they were ever born. So what are these experiences? Are they fragments of a soul that refuses to forget? Echoes of consciousness moving from one life to the next, or something else entirely? Something created by the mind itself, so it feels more convincing than reality. Tonight, we're diving into the stories, the research, and the cases that continue to blur the line between psychology and the paranormal. Because even if one of these memories is real, then death might not be the end of your story. It might just be the beginning of another. Welcome to the show. All right, guys. So Charlie and Tyler, first thoughts on past life regression generally. Kind of, what are your takes on it?
I think it's fascinating. So I find it fascinating. It's something I always really hope is real. I always wish that I was like a knight in a past life.
Right.
Like, I hope
Cleopatra,
so.
all those like stereotypical ones.
Well, you know, just some knight fighting in a war. I think that'd be cool. War of the 18,
Nice.
I don't know, 1400s, something like that.
Okay.
So with my son, he likes to tell us stories about when he was big young. And what big young to him means is previous life. But there's some things that are so odd and specific. But then some things, obviously, it's like, okay, we were talking about it earlier today. So you're making that part up.
Sure.
But he's also 4. But like he went on this long conversation about how like he went to this old steakhouse that isn't around anymore, and he would go there after he was like a vegetable farmer, and
So
like
was
he
Al
just went.
Capone?
No, he was here. He was not out there. And then like I waited weeks and I asked him about it again, and he was able to very specifically say certain things. But then he would also, he would bring up things that we had talked about that day into it as well. So it's been kind of fun to like play with and see. And he gets really like shy about it too. Like if you ask him if, like if we're in a group of people and I'm like, tell us about when you were big young, like he gets really shy. Like it's personal to him. But I've always liked the idea of reincarnation. And
Yeah, right?
I think it's cool to consider that we've had past lives, because I don't particularly believe in heaven or hell.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea of reincarnation is cool, because then that gives me a little bit of hope that when we die, that's not it.
Yeah, it's not
Um,
just like turning off a TV, end of everything.
yeah, which I guess if that's the case, it doesn't matter. But yeah, I think I like the idea of this. I don't know if I necessarily believe it,
Sure.
but I love the stories like about children um being able to say certain things about family members or like their past life, or like they go somewhere they've never been before and they can describe the location. I think it's
Yeah.
fascinating.
Big
Yeah.
Young is a sick, sick street name.
Big Young
Yeah, save that for his future rap name.
Believe
Big
it.
on it.
Young in the vegetable fields.
If Joey has a rap career, I'm gonna have a serious conversation with him.
You can be his Logan, like Turk.
No, I'll be much too old for that.
No, I think it'd be perfect. What is that called? His hype man? What is that
Hype
called?
man.
Yeah,
it's
hype
hype
man,
man.
yeah.
You could be his hype man.
I
He's
should
the only
not.
one that is allowed to call you Chuck.
That's true. He is. Yeah.
Well, that's so cool. You have personal experience with this exact idea, knowing that your son is claiming to have this past life look into it, right? And I think it's easy for kids to play pretend, and that's why it's easier for us to write it off. But at the same time, when things do line up, it feels a little like unnerving, right? Because you're like, wait, that's true though. Hold on,
Mhm.
I've got a few stories about this with a lot of people in my life, not just myself. But my favorite one was my friend's little brother growing up. He started fixing the cars when he was 3, and he would tell us like when he was like 4, he'd walk in with like his pull-ups on, with and be like dirty with like a wrench in one hand and like a flashlight in the other, and we'd be like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "I fix cars, like I fix plane before I fix planes." And he literally could fix anything that broke. And then as he got older, when he was like 6 or 7, he was like, "Oh yeah, I used to do this all the time when I was a pilot." And his dad would be like, "Buddy, what are you talking about?" He's like, "I've told you this, Dad." Like he'd get so mad, like, "When I was a pilot, before I came here, I was a pilot, remember?" Like he would always get so upset
Like
about it.
obviously, yeah.
Yeah, but then
That's
same thing. Once he hit like age like 9 or 10, it was more like foggy or more shy or more like he didn't want to talk about it, but he was like very loud about it, and still could like was adept at like handling motors,
Imagine thinking you have a job when you're 4 years old.
Right?
Like, just be a child. That's crazy.
Well,
yeah, it'd be crazy if the skills diminished as you got older.
Yeah.
Like obviously that's not the case for
Yeah.
him, because obviously at 3 years old you're closer to your past life than like 30. So
Sure.
imagine if you actually, instead of like getting better at a skill, imagine as you got older
Yeah.
you actually got worse.
I
got
feel like I'm
worse.
getting worse at comedy every day, so that makes sense.
You just
That's-
gotta do a past life regression there. Get back to your old self.
Yeah, we should all decide at the end of the episode what we would pass on to our next life because of this life.
Well, if we were able to choose something to pass on, that's interesting. I like that, to think that there's like a choice in it, a hand in it. I want to just read the actual definition of what past life regression is. Past life regression, or PLR, is a technique usually involving hypnosis, where a person is guided into a relaxed or altered state to recall what are believed to be memories from previous lifetimes. This is often used in alternative therapy based on the belief in reincarnation. Sessions typically involve guided questions like, "Go to the origin of this feeling. What do you see?" This has a lot of history and origins, specifically in Hinduism, Buddhism, and ancient Greek philosophy, these reincarnation beliefs. In modern development, it became popular through hypnosis research and New Age spirituality. Specifically, Ian Stevenson, 1960 to 2000, studied a lot of children with past life memories.
Oh, I'm glad you put that modifier in there. Just study a lot of children is not good.
Yeah, no, past life memories. Yes. Hypnotherapists in the 1970s and 90s began using this regression as actual therapy. So, I don't know. I feel like therapy techniques have been all over the board forever, but what do you guys think about this as a form of therapy?
My luck is I would go under hypnosis to find out who I was in my past life. And I'd be like, well, I got abducted by aliens when I was 10. I don't know about a past life, but I don't know. Hypnosis, I'm sure there's some credible cases, but there's just such an ability to lead people to where you want them to go that it's hard to believe that it's always credible.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Charlie? What do you think about this as a form of therapy?
I feel like in a form of therapy, this could almost be like, this is gonna sound so diminishing, but it's not what I mean. Like it's almost like a form of escapism. Like
Yeah, almost like detrimental.
yeah, like you were this life. If you could easily get lost in the sauce, if you will, about your past lives, who you were, and not focus on who you are now.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And it could be like inspiring, like this is who you were, try to mount up to that, live up to that. But also easily I could see it slipping the other way where people get obsessed in who they used to be.
Well, I think that's
Mm-hmm.
why, and I'm not, this is going to sound like an overgeneralization. I don't mean this and it's not
Oh,
on
it's
topic,
okay.
but that's, I think, why some people get so obsessed with video games too. Because it's so much
Mm,
easier to level up this character than live your own life. So the way that maybe affects some people, I could see the same with overly focusing on your past life, where it's like you're so intensely focused on that the next thing you know, you're 65 in this life. And it's like, wait a
yeah.
minute. Wait.
No, I've
It's
known
a cool
people
thought.
like
It's awesome. Sorry, John.
yeah.
Courtney.
No, no, you're fine. I was just say it's I've known people so much like in this woo-woo community who specifically use these like meditation techniques to go into their quote unquote past life multiple times and like kind of like you said like live out these journeys like you would in a video game, and it's like how much of that is just relaxed meditation and how much of it is you actually like seeing into the past or a different dimension or something, and is it helpful for dealing with the actual problems you have going on in your life, or is it maybe just like a fun thing to do, but in terms of like I think it can be detrimental, I guess is what I'm trying to say, depending on how you use it.
That's fair.
If it was like video games, like I'm so bad at collectibles in video games and in real life, like I don't even want to know. I hope that doesn't count for anything.
Just like old, I don't know why I'm picturing, I can't even think of it, what's it, like a burlap sack just empty.
Yeah, like the feather in Assassin's Creed, I can never find those.
What would be your collectibles in your real life, Charlie?
Nice.
I thought you said nice knives. Yeah.
No, knives, of course.
Mine would be
Guns.
coffees, which
Well,
is like
that's
Alan
a very
Wake.
sweet,
Alan Wake had
wholesome one.
thermoses, but that's
I don't play enough video games. Is that like a character signifier, like something you'd always have on you?
No, something you want to find.
No.
You know, like
yeah. It's just like I feel like games just throw things like there's like in the whole game there's 15 of these. Good luck finding them.
I
I don't
see.
know.
yeah,
Stuff like that.
Assassin's Creed was like 100 per map. There were like 5 maps, so 500.
100 per
feathers.
map.
It was a lot. They're
Jeez.
really easy to find. They're not easy to find. They're all over the place. And there's some in Spider-Man. A lot of games have these,
But
but
yeah.
it's very common.
Well, it's okay. I like the idea that it was something character signifying, and that Tyler's was coffee and Charlie's was knives, always on you. um. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about how this could or would work if you're a non-believer in the woo-woo, right? Um, so the first interpretation is sort of more woo. It's spiritual reincarnation. The consciousness survives death. The soul carries memories between lives. Trauma or unresolved issues carry over. The psychological explanation is that it creates false memories through suggestion, like you said. Hypnosis increases imagination and compliance, and people construct stories based on culture, media, and expectations. And then there's sort of the hybrid unknown theory, which is this collective unconscious, the genetic memory accessing some kind of quote unquote universal memory field. And I think this is why we hear a lot of, like cute young spiritual girlies being like, I was Cleopatra in a past life. It's like, it's always like Joan of Arc or Cleopatra or these like very like, Egyptian queens and kings. It's like, how are so many people Cleopatra, So I don't know. What do you guys think about this sort of spiritual versus psychological?
I lean psychological based on my own just biases in life. I don't know. I do like reincarnation though.
I don't think the two are mutually exclusive, too. That's the thing, right? I think looking at specifically the idea of past life regression, going into it in a form of this, suggestibility, hypnosis, kind of vibe versus like a child remembering something from their previous life. I think those ring as two kind of different things in my head, but that's why I wanted to get into this because I think we kind of generalize it, right?
I think it's crazy to
Yeah.
imagine like you pass and your unconscious is like just this thing floating, and it almost makes it almost like a spirit like waiting to get into the next thing. But then I don't know if it's
Yeah.
It's
because
like
of
going to the
the
cloud.
well, but I don't know if it's because of the moon that just happened, the moon trip. But it's just like imagining like what if like somehow you get separated from Earth and then you're just
Mm.
unconscious. It's just like flying through the cosmos, looking to attach to anything, and then I don't.
Does that
That's from
scare you? That kind of freaks you
yeah.
out?
That's terrifying to me.
Interesting. Okay. That's like brings people's peace, some people peace, which I think is interesting as well. Why like the grandiosity of space can be like either like really like relieving to some people or like horribly terrifying. Like my friend's fiance, he can't go to planetariums because he's like, I can't fathom like the exponential space, like the vastness. Like really, like he has a panic attack.
Yeah.
You know?
It might be one thing that's not
mean,
scary until
yeah.
I would experience it. Like there was actually a quote from one of the astronauts where it's like they were outside the shuttle and they're like, I thought it was a fear of heights that bothered me, but really it's a fear of gravity, because you don't know it until you're up there. So, I mean, maybe it would be
I mean,
peaceful,
no
but
one's been
right
higher
now,
though, so
huh?
no one's been higher up than him. So
You get to me on a
'cause
third
he's
rung
all
of a
the way-
ladder and I get a little stressed out. I don't know.
Okay, cool. What about you, Charlie? What are you thinking about this sort of, psychological?
I'm on the same
versus
page as
spiritual?
you.
Yeah.
I think okay, so like kids, like they don't have any conditioning before that, or not much. But like
Yeah.
I think you said it really good. Those like the kind of girlies who are like, I was Cleopatra.
Yeah.
They they have so much conditioning before going into that session. They're probably already leaning like maybe I was this beautiful queen. Um, but I find I thought I thought it was interesting that one of the examples you said was Joan of Arc. I was like, who's saying they're Joan of Arc? I guess really religious people.
No, I mean not even religious. I think it's like a very powerful, like feminine icon.
Could be.
Like,
Yeah.
Did
I
she
really
burn?
like Joan of Arc's story. What, Charlie?
Did she burn?
She
I
did,
don't-
right? I think they
I
burned
thought she.
her.
I'm pretty sure she got. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they said burn the
Because
witch.
they
And
like
she's
checked
like,
to
whoa.
see if she was a virgin, and she like was a virgin, but her, sorry to speak so plainly, but like her hymen broke, which is very common, and so the doctor was like, "You're a whore. You're gonna be
Yeah.
burned." And she was like, "Okay."
That's past life. That's past life trauma right there.
Yeah. Truly. Well, cool. Thank you. Thanks for your takes on that. So science specifically, science, Mr. Science says, studies show people under hypnosis can create vivid alternate identities. Up to 40% of subjects will describe a past life when prompted. So 40%, that's pretty intense.
That's 10% off half.
Yeah. Many psychologists argue that these are confabulations, fabricated memories, influenced by belief and suggestion. And there is an ethical concern raised that false memories can feel completely real and emotionally intense, but kind of like we were talking about earlier, how are we using this information to guide us in our current choices and rely on it for the world we're living in now if it's just fabricated memories that we could be doing anything inside of, right?
Yeah, I think I would always doubt whether or not it was fabricated. Like, even if I went under hypnosis and I experienced something, I think there would still be a part of me that thought maybe it was fabricated until I was able to find some concrete. Because I guess that's the next thing is like, now obviously not Cleopatra, but like if someone thinks their past life and it's just like, one previous generation, you could actually do some research into it, right? And like,
Yeah, exactly. And that's I have a story that's gonna connect with that a little bit.
Yeah, it's always so eerie. And like, it's like kids, like someone thinks like their brother or something was reincarnated as their son. It's like, yeah, that's so weird because I remember that memory too. But also, you shouldn't be having that.
son brother. I don't know
Son
if
brother?
I don't know if I'd like that.
Brother son.
That'd be so weird.
Yeah, well, okay, so we're gonna kind of get to it anyway, but I'm gonna bring it up. Is there's this great book, Spook by Mary Roach, and in it, it opens actually talking about this exact thing about she's like in India with one of the reincarnation specialists in the world, Dr. Rawat, and it's like she's essentially going to these different villages with him because this is very, very common there, like the idea of reincarnation and, you know, being able to like literally communicate with like the quote unquote dead or the reincarnated through these like young children being born. And you can gain fame and popularity and money from this. So it's kind of like a whole smarmy deal, but it's also tough to like to speak like plainly about because it's definitely a cultural divide. Like I don't really know enough about it, but at least speaking from Mary Roach's experience, she went to this town where there was a child who claimed to be the son of someone from another village, and like in it talks about how the son goes to the person who used to be his wife and is like touching her breasts and is like being romantic on her, and it gets very weird, and he's like a child and she's like asking the teacher like, this is not really appropriate, and it's like, no, it's his wife, he can do that, it's his wife, and she's like, yeah, it's my husband, like he's just like him. It's like, he's 3. Oh, you know what I mean? Like it's very, very strange. But anyway, if you want to, listeners, if you want to know more about kind of like everything she learned there and how common this is, please check out this book. I know I've talked about it in other paranormal research, but specifically with this topic, it is interesting how common it is in other parts of the world to acknowledge past life. Like it's as regular as, you know, brushing your teeth. Whereas here it's like, what? No way, you know?
That would be... It's tough because you can't be like to us that feels so taboo, but like culturally you can't say it's wrong. It just feels like icky.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially because of the time we're in with like, you know, sexual predators and things like that.
Yeah.
I think for me reading that felt very like, whoa. And again, that seemed to be the author's response as well. But it was crazy that this like renowned scientist who gets like called to these towns all over is there to like find and like establish like, yes, this is who you were in your past life, here's how we can point like to it, you know. And it's a lot of like weird like prying questions of like, well, where did you first meet your wife, at what market? And then it's like this stuff that, to be quite frank, that family and his family could have communicated about beforehand, just to like again gain some sort of clout and fame from this doctor coming to their town.
So here's the answers to the test.
Exactly. So it's like, how much do you believe? How do you not? I don't know. But anyway, interesting. Just kind of weird and interesting. I do want to talk more about children specifically, though, with past life memories and some of the most compelling cases. I talked about my friend's little brother. But the key research findings, sorry, I'm trying to find the scientist's name here. I can't find it. But anyway, this is about a study. It took place over 50 years, specifically with children from ages 2 to 3. Essentially, that's when they start recalling, between ages 2 to 3, and then they stop recalling these memories between 6 to 7. Others describe specific names, places, deaths, strong emotional reactions, and some cases reportedly match real deceased individuals. So one of the most famous cases, which I actually saw like a whole documentary on this kid. It was one of the first things that got me interested in learning more. But James Leninger, have you heard of him? He was the World War II pilot.
The name sounds familiar, but there's nothing to it for me.
No worry, yeah. So he would have like nightmares of plane crashes. He would name aircraft carriers and like fellow soldiers and like talk about his past life all the time. He would talk about details very specifically that like reportedly matched a real pilot that passed away. And then ultimately, it's not in my research here, but I remember from the documentary, he died in World War II in Pearl Harbor. And so his family surprised him and were like, we're going to Hawaii. And like they went there and he was like sobbing and crying and like couldn't control himself, and like they got into like a smaller boat, and he was like, take me, and he like went out to this like point in the water, and he's like, this is where I died, like this is like
Wow.
where I died. And they like laid flowers for him, and his parents said after that he was like a totally different kid. It's like he almost like honored his own death and then was able to move on. But
Yeah, it's almost like a ghost and moved on almost.
yeah, but like, what would you guys do if you had a child that was like
I don't
communicating
know
that
if going
with you?
the death place is the move, you know? I don't know. Hey,
It's
I don't know.
it's tough because even if you believe in something, and you like, I never want to invalidate my son,
Mm-hmm.
but there are levels of like I believe in ghosts,
Yeah.
but I could also see me telling him, "Oh, ghosts aren't real. Don't worry about it." You know, that
You
noise.
Mm.
You know what I
liar.
mean? So
To like
it's
protect him, or why is that?
protective, yeah. To make him
Okay.
not be afraid. And when he's older, you know, so be it. But I feel like there's just this for me, I'll speak for myself. There's a natural tendency to want to downplay things, to not, you know what I mean, to like guard
Mm-hmm.
him while he's still so young and innocent. And I could see myself, if he was telling me very bluntly that like, this is where I live, this is where I die, like I'd be fascinated by it. I probably would do research on the side, but I don't
Yeah.
know how much I would probably try to find the line of not invalidating him,
Mm-hmm.
but also not like overly buying in to where it
Sure.
like became his obsession.
Would you make a burner account
Sure.
on Reddit and write the whole thing up?
Can
Yeah.
someone do this ancestry.com for me? I can't let my son see. I can't let my wife see. Okay. Okay, very cool. Another common thing with this is birthmarks matching death wounds. A
I've
lot
heard
of
that,
kids, yeah, are born with marks that allegedly match fatal injuries. There's one example pattern of a child who remembers being shot, and the birthmark is in the same location. Hundreds of these cases are documented. Another typical pattern across these cases is that most memories involve violent or sudden deaths. A lot of emotional intensity. Children cry. They beg to return to their previous families. There's also a behavioral carryover, like phobias linked to previous deaths, skills like the car stuff, and or personality traits. Another book I don't have here with me, but it's interesting. It Didn't Start With You, and it actually talks about not this at all in a woo woo way. It's about like psychology and like how trauma carries through. I guess it's a little woo, but it's how trauma carries through bloodlines based on the physical like trauma that we endure. And it talked a lot about Holocaust victims and how like their families below them have very specific genetic mutations and issues and ailments, and how like they would have like nightmares and memories of like painful traumatic situations that like their grandparents had. So that's interesting too, of sort of like a genetic connection. I wonder if that could be linked to sort of a
Mm-hmm.
consciousness thing being carried over. I mean, it's not in your genes, so I don't know, but what do you guys think about this, about like the physical manifestation of this?
I do have a thought that like perhaps this is me putting on my skeptic hat. Perhaps like the kids that say that like the birthmarks were there or
Yeah.
the death mark,
Mm-hmm.
maybe that's just their way of rationalizing why they have this mark and
Right.
if they don't like it or not.
Sure.
And then yeah, that's my thought on that.
I was kind of thinking that too. I'm glad you said that, because I was like, I don't know, but maybe, but yeah, absolutely.
It's also a good theory though. I don't know. It's cool. It's annoying because it works both ways.
Yeah, for sure. What
The
about you,
physical
Tyler?
trauma, I mean, I definitely think there's something to that. I mean, I think slavery, there's definitely aspects of that. I think with slavery, and then the Holocaust is a really good one. It's
Don't isolate that.
I won't. I
yeah.
won't.
I don't think there's I don't there's nothing I can pull from based on my heritage,
Mm-hmm.
but it seems like in other groups of people that seems to be true, seems to be the case.
Right. And the thing I'll mention here, very like connected to paranormal and woo woo, right, is that it's very similar with ghosts and spirits in haunted houses. They're there because they endured a violent or traumatic death, usually, and that's kind of what's holding their energy field or their consciousness in this physical plane, you know? It's these people who had very horrible, horrible, tragic deaths. It's like, I don't know why immediately my mind's going to like the Virginia City one of the saloon of the prostitute who was like, molested, and then was like her like head was almost cut off and then like bled out in a bathtub, just like horrible, horrible, nasty death. And she haunts the place like crazy. And it's like, yeah, I think there's a sense of spiritual vengeance like that. But if not staying there, it's like, all right, if you jump straight into another body, some of that might come with you a little bit, right?
Yeah.
I do have a thought though too, like you were saying. But what if so what if it does happen for all of us? Like all of us are actually just reincarnations, but the ones that remember the most were the violent ones, and that's why it seems like those are the only ones that do it. But it's just everyone, but everyone's doesn't have those violence. Oh my god, I'm having the hardest time telling.
No, you're making sense. But,
okay, all right, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, like those traumatic ones are the ones that we remember. Maybe
they stand out the most.
Yeah, and then that's why maybe the idea of a practice of past life regression is so people who didn't have these traumatic experiences can try to have access to those lives that we may have lived before.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for hanging out with me on Jaunty Haunts. I appreciate you choosing this over peace and quiet. If you've got a story, something weird, creepy, or just deeply questionable, send it my way. Email, Instagram, or by way of crow. I'll take it. I'd love to read it on the show. And if you're craving more spooky vibes, check out some of my favorite podcasts. Spooked, a Funny Feeling podcast, and Ghosted with Roz Hernandez. For horror, paranormal, and all-around unsettling fun, go show some love to our podcast friends, the Opening Kill podcast, the Red Treehouse podcast, Ghost Binkers, Believing in the Bizarre, Let's Talk Terror, I Scream, You Scream, Ghost Gossip podcast, Seance with My Siblings, the Ghoul Friend Hour, Close Encounters Club, and the list keeps growing. If you are a podcaster and you want to collaborate, please reach out as well. Follow, rate, share, please do all the things that keep this little haunted corner thriving. Okay, I've got a couple more stories of an adult past life regression, of an actual story here. So this is, her name was Antonia. The woman under hypnosis recalled life as a 16th century Spanish woman. Over years of research, details were reportedly verified. She became emotionally attached to that identity. And a major theme was the experience felt more real than imagination. So there was like vivid sensory experiences, smells, textures, environments, a lot of strong emotional release, grief, fear, and love, a lot of recognizing people from current life as someone from the past life, and then seeing these, death, the moment of death, the trauma, and the significant relationships in her life, which apparently were verified from 16th century Spain. But I don't know. I feel like the what's verifiable from 16th century Spain is not a lot of paperwork and facts. Also, yeah. And I don't know why I have my skeptic hat on so much with this episode. I think because it's something that everyone says that they can do, and I think there are also, again, repercussions, because our minds are powerful, right? And if we start to believe this stuff so much, it does kind of feel like you talk about the video game, or like a candy or a drug, something that you can dip into all the time and fuel and propel your own stories, and that can, I think, eat away at us, right?
Easy to hyperfixate on, for sure.
Yes.
Sorry. No, I think that's a really good point. Also, you said it too. She got hung up on this past life, like we were saying earlier. Like, it can become something keeping you held back.
Yeah. Okay, well, I've got a couple stories, personal, and then a couple questions. Are you down to hear a couple stories?
Yeah.
Please.
Let me tell you that this is nothing to do with the episode, but it has to do with like past life, and it just happened this morning.
Yeah.
It's not really past life. It'll make sense. So every morning I go for like an hour walk around my neighborhood, and it's rare that I see anyone besides like kids walking to school. But I see this lady walking towards me, and at first it kind of pisses me off because she's walking with traffic, and you're supposed to walk against traffic. And I'm like, do I move? Does she move? So I'm the one that moves, because that's just life. And I got my AirPods in, and I see that she's saying something to me, and I got noise cancellation on, which probably isn't very safe. But then I take them out, and I hear her say a word, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. I got my headphones in. And she's like, Sean? And I was like, what? And she's like, are you Sean?
You're like, Gus.
I know. I was like, no, my name's Tyler. And she's like, oh my, or no. Yeah, okay. She's like, are you Sean? And I'm like, no, my name is Tyler. And she's like, oh, you look exactly like my old best friend, Sean. And I was just
Ooh.
thinking in that moment, how unhinged it would have been if I was like, I am Sean.
Actually,
And just
That's
how long I could
time.
play along with this and see what would happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish you would have done that and then wrote that.
I feel really,
op-ed
I felt
to New
bad
York.
though, because we laughed and I said, have a good day. She's like, have a good rest of your day. And we didn't get that far away from each other. And in my head, I was like, what if you would have went with it? That would have been unhinged. And out loud, I said, that was crazy. And I was like, I really hope she didn't hear me say it, because I'm like, I want to be like, it wasn't you. It was the thought in my head of
Yeah, it was
pretending
a
to be
crazy
Sean.
thought I had.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's okay. I mean, even if not, maybe she's just like, oh yeah, how crazy he looks, just like my friend, you know? Yeah.
She says that to
Don't
all
worry
the
about
guys.
it.
Don't worry. It was-
I should have said, well, he's very
She
handsome.
says that to all the guys.
Yeah. That's her pickup line.
Yeah.
Are you my old best friend, Sean?
Yeah, dude, it was a ghost. You found a ghost, a stray ghost.
I'm terrible at faces though, so I don't blame her.
It's weird though, like that, like best friend, not like, oh, my old friend, like my
my best
previous
friend.
best friend. Like,
I know. I should be like, you should know that I'm not Sean. Sean is offended.
you should ask her. That's your doppelganger, Tyler. You got to go figure that out.
I don't know, but what if I find him and he's like hideous? And I'm like, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Well, I
hope
think
he's-
then you
I hope
feel
he's
better,
6'3".
though, right? You'll be the better looking version of him.
True,
It
but
might
if
be
she
wor-
thought
it might be
I-
worse if he's super hot.
She said just like Sean.
Yeah, she said just. So let's
You ugly
keep
fuck.
perspective here.
Okay. That's funny though. Thanks for sharing. That is cool how that kind of connected to this. Weird vibes today. Weird energy vibes. I don't know about you guys, but it was definitely weird here. Okay, yeah. So what was I gonna say? My kind of story. So here's my kind of like weird sort of connected stories. So when I was little, I used to not only just see ghosts. I used to draw this little girl with blonde.
You could
like,
draw.
when I was young, I did like to draw a lot. I did.
Okay.
I was like really loved painting and drawing. I just
Kind of like
I
it
just
got
didn't
you.
stick
Like,
with it.
haha, you used to draw it as a child.
I mean, it looked like children's drawings, though, you know. But yeah, it was like a little blonde girl with kind of like curly hair and like a blue, like sort of, you know, European-looking gown on in like a castle, looking out the window. And I always used to think to myself too, like, oh, I remember this. Like, I remember this view. I remember the smell. Like, I remember when this was me. And I'd tell my mom, like, Mom, remember when this was me? And she's like, oh, like you were a princess? And I was like, yeah. Like, I just like didn't really know how to like verbalize it, you know? So it was like, whatever. So I kind of let go of it. And then in high school, you know, I started hanging out with like spooky people and witchy people. And I mentioned this and they're like, oh, that was your past life. And I was like, really? I don't know. They're like, yeah, for sure. It was your past life. And I was like, all right, well, so one year for Halloween, the spooky high school friend club and I decided, the guy who like was very much a witch practitioner, he's like, I'm going to do past life regressions for everybody for Halloween. Like, it's going to be a fun thing. So we were like, okay, it was not a fun thing. It was pretty traumatic and pretty dark for most of us. No one had like a good experience, whether that was just like the Halloween vibes and like darkness or like what our minds were vulnerable to, but it wasn't specifically like nightmarish, but mine specifically in that night where I went to in this sort of hypnosis was weirdly enough, with you guys just talking about it, I was on the subway, but it was like the early 60s in New York, and I looked down at my hands and they were like big and wrinkly, and I had sort of this like weird dress on, and sometimes when you pass other train cars on the subway you see like a reflection of yourself back, and so I saw a reflection of myself back, and I was like this old little woman with like a babushka, like a little handkerchief on, like holding a bag of groceries, and I just was like overcome with immense sadness, and I was like alone. It was like the feeling of alone, like aching in my bones, like I'd never felt so alone. And I remember like mumbling like stop, like I wanted to like come out of it, because it was just like a lot for a 15-year-old to like experience. And I also don't know why like that's where I went, but they were like, no, stay in it, stay focused, like see where you go. And it was really boring. Like I just was like an old lady, and I like got off the train and I like walked up to my apartment, and like I couldn't get my keys because my knuckles hurt so bad, and I kept almost dropping the keys. And then I like opened the apartment and I went in, and it looked like I had lived a long life with a husband who was dead, and I was just alone, and everything hurt.
Yeah.
And so anyway,
Maybe
You got some old listeners that are like, "Yep."
Yeah.
what were you gonna say, Charlie?
Maybe it hurt because you used to be a professional skateboarder, and
I broke all my hands from skateboarding.
That'd have been in the 1900s, like 1907.
1910.
Do you think you were channeling her emotions, or do you think that was your 15-year-old finding themselves in an elderly body emotion?
Oh, it felt like her emotion. And the reason I'll say it, and this is where it gets a little like spiritual girl annoying Cleopatra, was because I had a lot of scars on my body as this old woman, and I kept seeing like the Jewish star hanging in the wall. And I'm not Jewish, and I don't have like family who's Jewish. No weirdness here though, whatever, like weird times. Okay. Anyway, and like I was like, oh, maybe I had survived the Holocaust, like, and all my friends of course were like, oh yeah, that's it for sure. So it was that thing of like, are we high schoolers doing like the big trauma thing, or was that actually a thing? And I wonder if that's why I felt all the pain in my body and like the horrible ache of sadness, because it was like a lot of, this is so weird because I don't count this as real, but like I'm getting emotional right now. Maybe I'm just like, my body's reconnecting to what I felt in that thing.
I was gonna ask have you ever revisited that before?
No, but like, this is so embarrassing. I'm sorry.
No, don't be embarrassed. It's okay.
See, I want to like be like, oh, it's so stupid. It was just like something, but it still gets me, you know. And it could have just been again like a big emotional thing that we created, right? Like maybe it was just in my mind, but it still has an effect on me. I don't know, but I know that weirdly connected to that was I had a really hard time in middle school when we started learning about the Holocaust. I had to go home early because I couldn't stop crying when I was like 12, and I like they started playing videos and showing clips, and I was crying so hard I was like, I need to go home. I don't feel good. I feel sick, and I threw up because I was so like disturbed. And I was like, well, I'm just a sensitive person. Maybe I was just being a baby, or hey, maybe there's something going on there, you know, I don't know, right? So long, complicated, convoluted story of that, right? So
What
so
clips
there's
do they show you in middle school?
oh, like the ones of like them burning the bodies, like
My
like the
God, in
actual
middle
footage
school?
they had. Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, they like had like the pile of bodies and they put them, I remember the clip that like made me go like, I have to get out of here. It was like throwing them on the stretcher and then like
The
throwing
teacher's like,
bodies.
what's wrong with her?
Yeah.
She was like a
Let's get back to
crotchety
the
old
bodies
lady,
burning.
and I think honestly it's important though. Like now I think things are a little sugar coated, right? Like that was profound to our generation. Like we did not joke about the Holocaust. That was not like a silly funny thing.
Yeah.
Whereas now kids, like you see, they're like super crazy, like numb to everything, and I don't know. I don't know. A mix of how do we
Kids these
protect them
days.
and how do we educate them, right?
Yeah, I remember reading The Night of the Long Knives, and that was or I don't remember the book, but it had The Night of the Long Knives in it. It was, and that was it was in high school, and I loved the book, but that hit home for me.
Probably just the further you get away from tragedies, probably like, I mean, there are 24-year-olds right now that were not alive for 9/11, you know, like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
like the way that it affects us now compared to like in 15 years, what they might joke
Yeah.
about, you know,
I've been
because there was
known to
definitely a time
make
where,
9/11 joke. So.
huh?
I've been known to make a 9/11 joke.
Yeah, but there was a time period where you truly felt like you couldn't. Maybe
Oh
not you,
yeah.
but- hold on, I got on
He's like day 2.
I've always made that joke.
I know my algorithm definitely knows I'm on the 9/11 conspiracy theory side now. I get a lot of videos every day being like, "See, this is not possible," and I'm like, I can't argue that.
You can't. Steel beams can't melt or something. I don't remember the hell
Right,
it is.
Tyler? 9/11 inside job.
That job.
Oh, is that what we're talking about now?
Yeah.
I don't remember what
shift.
I it's possible. There
We did
definitely
a
were
whole
planes though.
episode about
I don't know
that.
how we
Remember
had
that, Tyler?
people. We got people thinking there weren't even planes. That's crazy
Yeah.
to me.
No, I feel like they were planes at least. But before this gets taken off the air for conspiracy theory, no.
For being too accurate.
No, I also don't want to keep you guys too over time because I know you got stuff to get back to. I'll just finish up my little story here. But to wrap it up, so the little girl when I was young and then the past life regression. So I kind of like just left that, forgotten about it, was like whatever. And then anytime I was around like a meditation friend or a woo-woo friend and they were like, do you want a past life regression? I was like, no thanks. Did it once and it was horribly painful. Like very sad. No thanks. But I interviewed my grandma for this podcast, and before we recorded, she was talking about our ancestors and like how some of them could also like see stuff and all this, and how my grandma's makes a lot of outlandish claims. She's got a lot of stuff going on, and so I have a hard time believing her a lot of the time. It's a complicated relationship. But she said, oh yeah, well, this person we were related to, and you know, they were royalty in Scotland and they had a castle and it was called this. And I googled the castle, and like, I shit you not, it is the castle from my memories from when I was little.
What?
Of like the cliffside and looking out over the water from when I was like little. And I was like, it like took me aback. I was like, what the that is
That's better than Cleopatra.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, but and so I did a lot more research on this family, and this is where it got so fun. It just really freaked me out bad because the owner of the land had a daughter, and that daughter had a son. The son married a woman, and they had 2 children who were both blonde little girls, and there's a painted portrait of them in blue fluffy gowns.
Wow.
Who lived in that castle. Yeah.
You should have brought them the picture.
Brought who the picture?
Them. Go to the castle with the picture you drew.
Tyler. I think they're...
Oh, the one that I drew?
Yeah.
It's just like a stick figure looking on the
Yeah.
sea, like, see, it's you.
Yeah.
2-year-old drew it. No. But anyway, that's my whole story. That's my only connection with this. And as silly as it can feel, it also feels very real and a little unnerving too. That was in 2024 that I found that through my grandma, and I was like, holy shit. and I told my mom, I said, remember how I used to draw this thing and talk about it? Look at this photo. And she's like, that's exactly how you described it when you were little. You know, it was like,
That's crazy.
yeah. So
does that mean, do you believe in past lives then because of your own experiences?
I definitely believe in past lives. Well, here's the thing. I like the idea of reincarnation. I think that would be awesome. I have never, like, from what I have been able to like verify and see myself from speaking and like seeing spirit, I have never anybody like tell me like this is my 5th life or any of that. Like I don't know. I don't have any sort of like no, I don't know, but personally, I wish that's what happens. I like the idea of having another chance too. I like the idea also of like karmically bad people having to live a worse life after that, instead of like hell of just being in like a fiery pit.
It's in
I don't
Ohio.
know. Yeah. Like,
That
no, like,
explains a lot.
like try again and you're an ant now and you're gonna get stepped
Yeah,
on,
like they're not
you know?
humans. You know, okay, speaking of that, because this is
Yeah.
something I've thought about, is if reincarnation involves becoming non-humans,
Mhm.
then it makes sense.
Yeah.
But if a human can only then become a human again, there was 5 billion people in the 90s, and there's 7 to 8 billion people now. And it's like,
Wow.
are we creating new souls? Or the scariest thing is to think that like there's 3 billion things on Earth that aren't human, you know?
Wow. I think that
Wow.
there's like probably like more souls in rotation. Maybe they're coming from other planets, you know?
Yeah, no, but that's the same thing as they're not human. I didn't mean
Well.
like evil, but just like, you know.
I thought you meant like bugs.
Okay, that's the thing too. Is like, if you imagine that, like, if like Earth has a life count And like for us, it's like, yeah, humans went from 5 billion to 7 billion, but there are, animals that have gone extinct.
Yeah.
And so it's like like Earth has a life count, and now humans have gained in proportion while other things, have left. But yeah, it's like an ant can become a human, and a human can then become a whale, and it's because that
Yeah.
at least explains how there have
Is that Brendan
become
Fraser?
more humans. No,
You get it?
Brendan
'Cause
the
human-
whale.
Yes.
I didn't watch that movie.
Well, no.
Too sad.
It's just.
I don't know. I think it's interesting though, and it makes like it. The idea that like an ant became a human sometimes makes sense when you think about how some people behave.
That's very
True.
true. Yeah.
True.
Okay, I have 2 questions for you guys. First is, if you could do a past life regression, like with someone who's like a professional that you feel comfortable with, would you do it? Would you take the chance?
Yes.
No.
Absolutely.
Oh.
No.
Okay, I want to hear both sides. Charlie, why would you want to do it?
I think it's very interesting. Because I feel like I have clear memories that are not my own of things that happened in the past.
Wow, okay. Yeah.
I feel like I do, and it'd be interesting to see if they match up with what they'd say.
Yeah.
And I find that fascinating. And also, I'm very much. Tal, you mentioned how you're earlier, like you wouldn't want to, you almost would question it completely.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very much the opposite, where I'd probably just believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, what about you, Tyler? Because you're interested in reincarnation, so why scary?
I would hyperfixate on it. I'm a
Okay, yeah.
hyperfixate person,
Sure.
and 2, I don't like the idea of hypnosis. I don't like the idea of. This is gonna make me sound like a very guarded person, and I feel like I'm very transparent conversationally, but like I don't like the idea of letting people in. Like I don't.
Yeah, in your mind, for sure.
I don't ever want to go under hypnosis. I don't ever want to have my palm read. I mean, honestly, this is a big reason why I don't drink a lot. I don't like the idea of being intoxicated to the point where like there's no filter. Like I like being in charge.
You like being in control.
I like being, yeah, that sounds better. I like being in
Yeah.
control of myself.
Yeah.
And I don't like
Absolutely.
and I know my wife calls me out all the time that I hyperfixate. So,
Yeah, what are you gonna buy to make your past lives more?
Yeah, buy. If I had an
Beta
inkling of who I
blockers.
could have been, if I had an inkling of who I could have been, it's not time. The amount of time I would spend researching this person, even though it has no impact on my real life.
Shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, ignorance is bliss for me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's easy to get stuck in the past, especially if you literally identify with it. Yeah. Totally makes sense both ways. Okay, my next question is, and you can take your time. If you could choose what you'd be reincarnated next, whether it's human or animal, and like where in the planet you would live, what would you choose?
Oh, man.
I have this thought often sometimes when I'm like walking or like going to work, like I see a bird, I'm like, why can't I just be a bird?
Yeah.
But I probably wouldn't really want to be a bird because birds are cold. Like they're outside in the cold. Like, it's cold here sometimes.
What about like a nice house cat and like a nice home?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd want to not be human though. Like,
And then
like,
you gotta eat cat food. So like,
yeah, but you don't
But
know
you're
any
a
better.
cat. It tastes good as a cat.
I don't think it does. I think they lie to themselves.
And just be one of those sharks that lives like 1,000 years. Just like someone kill me, please. Drop an anchor on my head.
A nepo baby that lives in the Florida Keys.
Oh,
Just
very nice.
That's what I want. Honestly,
Any specific industry there for Nepo baby, or just
not
Just
where
tourism.
my trust fund pays for everything.
Yeah,
I think
you can just do anything you want. Yeah.
Yeah,
Paul
I don't know what
Alta.
kind of good karma I need to put out there for that, but
I mean, I definitely think I'd want to come back as a human. There's just so much more to experience. It's just a higher consciousness. Where though? Probably somewhere west, like Colorado or Arizona, something like that. I don't know.
Arizona's hot.
I like hot though.
Arizona's really hot.
Do you realize how cold our winter was? Hot sounds amazing.
No, I was there too. I just Arizona. I don't like Arizona very much.
You go to Florida all the time. You like
It's
heat.
not the same.
But you
It's
get
not-
water
like
down there.
humid.
Yeah, listen, I've been to Yuma enough times to know what the desert is like. I'm good.
Great answers, guys. Great answers. I, like Tyler, would also. You're close to your first answer there. I'd want to be a dog. I'd want to be a rich dog, like from a very rich family, like a very well-bred dog in a very rich home. Then they just like probably in like Italy, because like they're very dog friendly in Italy, so I can go like into grocery stores and whatever, and everyone gives me a piece of cheese. Oh yeah, that'd be great.
Go back.
Yeah.
Back.
Okay, this was great, guys. I'm sorry, I feel like I did a lot of talking, but I really do appreciate your input, and I know it's kind of a dense subject, but this was really fun for me.
Yeah,
this was great. Yeah, absolutely. You should do more talking too. It's your show.
Well,
yeah, right.
Thanks, I guess, but I don't know. I'm happy to have, featured guests on. Before we kind of wrap things up, I know we're a couple minutes over. Any last thoughts or, takes on past life stuff that you want to add in?
I do. I think it's fascinating. I really do. I do hope one day I do like a full regression. That'd be really cool. I hope someone tells me
I'll film it.
Thanks. I hope
if you come out to LA, I could find you someone in 2 minutes, I'm sure.
I'd like to go to LA. I haven't been there since I was a kid.
You got a second bedroom. Come visit.
Yeah, it'd be really cool. Also, every time we talked to you both times, I want there. You've not said there's anyone there, but I want there to be like, I do find
a ghost with you.
Yeah, I do think it'd be interesting. Like, oh, tell me more about that.
Yeah, are you sensing anything in Charlie's room?
No, she said no.
I'm not.
Already.
It's been an hour. Things change. They move.
I felt something more last time you guys were in the other one. I felt like more of like a feminine energy.
That's our love connection between Tyler and I.
Aww.
That's just producer Ben. I can see reincarnation. I'm already planning the things that I study as I get older. Like when I finally quit the podcast and life slows down and I have more time, I really want to get more into like astronomy and like because I'm in so many Facebook groups where people are like talking about all these different cameras and different lenses and all the so many 3.
Oh my God.
All right, I thought you were gonna say like 17. That's okay.
That would be my entire.
It was more than I was expecting.
No, and it's just like I can't devote time and money to it yet. But I eventually, because I love the night sky, I love stargazing.
Yes.
And right now it's just like 10-second exposure on my iPhone, so I can already see that. But like I'm still young enough to feel semi invincible and like I won't die. And like Charlie and I just talked about the other day how it's like we see actors and stuff from TV shows in the 90s and the 2000s, and you don't see them for like 20 years, and in your mind they're still that's how they look,
right?
And then they come out and they look old and not bad but just older, and
it's just like, scary now sometimes, right? Like the Botox, like it's crazy the way some of these people look.
And Charlie and I was just like, Charlie, do you ever feel like that's just not gonna happen to us? Like we're just gonna be the ones that it doesn't happen to? And he was like, yeah. All of that to say, like that's my mentality right now. But I know eventually I'm gonna start needing to cope with the idea of passing.
Yeah.
And I think at that point I'm gonna dive into reincarnation because that's
great.
The most appealing to me. But I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
We saw the cast from The Mummy. They all aged.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about how many times you want to mention Brendan Fraser.
Twice.
We can fit him in one more time.
He's the
best. He's awesome.
Brendan Fraser is a pretty cool guy.
He's awesome. He has age though. Yes.
Which is okay. Aging is okay. It's okay to get old. It's okay to look old because old is not bad. Old is what happens. It's happened to us forever.
Jonathan from The Mummy, he aged.
Yeah, he did.
My man aged, but that's okay. He's still fun.
Comedy will age you.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Anything else before I stop recording?
Nope.
No, this was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Thanks for having. Thank you. This is a great time.
For any listeners maybe who haven't checked out Believing in the Bizarre or want to check it out, can you tell them where to find you, where you prefer them to like and subscribe, which platform?
Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. If you like watching, hybrid would be Spotify. We have started doing full video. YouTube, there's video. Spotify has video and audio, and Apple, just search Believing in the Bizarre and you'll find us.
Consume us is crazy.
Consume us.
Consume us. Thanks so much for listening. Remember, you are not alone if you've ever heard a bump in the night or caught something out of the corner of your eye. There are countless others who experience things they can't explain. And this podcast is your safe place to listen and share.
Also, I want to remind everyone that this show is for entertainment purposes. I am not a professional paranormal investigator. I did not go to school to study this. I can only speak about my first-hand experiences. And with that, I'd love to mark the importance of spiritual inclusion. Your thoughts, ideas, and theories about the other side are welcome. And we know that so much of our common knowledge and perception about the paranormal stems from historical and cultural experiences. So we are open to your knowledge and understanding of things that we may be ignorant about or not fully understand. Let's learn and grow together. Stay spooky, and we'll see you next time. Hey ghoul friends, got a spooky story to share? Well, I want to hear about your haunts. Whether you've seen a ghost or something unexplainable, send your supernatural experiences to us at jauntyhaunts@gmail.com. That's JAUNTYHAUNTS@gmail.com. Or DM us on Instagram at jauntyhauntspod. That's jauntyhaunts.pod. You can also find us on TikTok and YouTube under Jaunty Haunts Podcast. I want to hear from you.